Welcome to the training on the direct instruction programming for the self-contained autism classroom. Reading, language arts, and math are the building blocks of knowledge. With direct instruction programs, every student can master them. Their purposeful pedagogy provides extensive support as students practice and apply what they have learned. The result is consistently high levels of student achievement with direct instruction programming implemented for early intervention. It's part of our multi-tiered system of supports, our response to intervention. It's for prevention and remediation. It's for special education students or for core instruction, depending on how your program uses it. Its skills are introduced gradually, they're reinforced, and they're continually assessed so no student can fall behind. The lessons are all scripted and they're very quickly paced. The teachers correct errors immediately and you motivate students with positive reinforcement. And we'll go through the error correction procedures and we'll be able to view some videos of teachers implementing the quick pace and the scripted instruction. There's 50 years of independent research that shows measurable success in all kinds of different classrooms. This has been used in self-contained classrooms, it's been used in general education classrooms, it's been used in all different types and with all different types of students and students all different disabilities as well. There are two major goals of direct instruction. You're ensuring skill mastery for every student by presenting a teaching script, by using signals, by using consistent corrections, and you're using criterion teaching of 100% mastery. Mastery is all students must. They have to answer correctly, they have to answer correctly on signal, and the task must be completed in the original context or the way it was written. You're ensuring that students acquire skills at the fastest possible rate by using group responding if you're teaching in a group instruction setting, or else in some instances, some of this is taught one-on-one. Also by the organization of time and materials, classroom management, using the appropriate pacing, and acceleration of students. And you'll see this in the placement test that some students may place on what's called a fast cycle, where they're skipping certain lessons and only being presented with particular lessons. The DI programs are designed to facilitate the achievement of these goals. The actual achievement of these goals, however, is ultimately in the hands of the teacher and is dependent on the teacher utilizing the particular group of strategies. So the method of instruction is explicit, it's intensive, and it's teacher directed. It has consistent teaching language. The format of each lesson is almost the same and learning increments are small. A big thing this, especially with our students with autism, is that consistency of language. The students don't have to decipher what you're saying because they already know what the expectation is for the program. The students will be successful in their answers the first time, almost all the time, because the tasks are organized for a first time right response via teacher modeling. So you're always going to model for the students the correct response initially, then you're going to do responding with them at the same time before they're given an independent opportunity to respond. The praise occurs frequently and every child knows they're doing well. It provides continuous assessment to ensure the lesson content is taught, what is taught is practiced, and what is practiced is applied until it's mastered. So you'll learn with a sense our reading program, Reading Mastery, all skills are taught to mastery. And there are consistent assessments every 10 lessons for the students to be assessed to ensure that they're grasping the concepts and the skills. The lessons are briskly paced and group answers every question in unison, and the students have almost limitless opportunities to answer correctly. If a student makes a mistake, a simple correction procedure is brought into place for the group to respond to without the student being identified. So if you're teaching this in a group setting, you would reteach for the whole class and it wouldn't be directing it specifically to one student. So the programs that we use that are direct instruction is we have Language for Learning, we have Reading Mastery, we have grades K through 3, and then there's a transition about 30 lessons or so between the first and second grade program, because it takes such a big jump in the type of skills that it's taught. So there's a little bit of programming in between to get them ready for that. We also have corrective reading at our middle school and high school levels for decoding at there's 3 different levels of that. And then we have the connecting math concepts, which covers there's levels A through D. So when you're doing lesson preparation in order to begin teaching, you need to pre-read the script and prepare. So there are some times you may have to draw on materials. The Connecting Math Concepts program uses an online platform where you could also use the board to teach, or you could do it on a whiteboard and write it out yourself. You need to think about where you're going to give think time and get ready. You need to add in any pause and punch, and you make sure you're paying attention to where you're adding verification of responses. adding more overt responses, or any more meaningful repetition. And you're going to turn individual responses into group responses. So you always need to do some type of prep and pre-read your lessons prior to presenting them. The Language for Learning is designed for pre-K to 2. It provides young learners with the knowledge and understanding of language they need to achieve proficiency and reading comprehension. It's an oral language program that teaches children's words, concepts, and statements important to both oral and written language, and it helps enable them to extend this knowledge to other areas of their development. This is directly going to go in line with our VB Map. A lot of the skills that are in the VB Map, assessed in the VB Map, are also taught in the Language for Learning. You'll see that there's labeling, extending sentences, providing answering yes and no questions, or prepositional words. They're taught in that as well. And it builds a foundation for education and developmental success. So while this is designed for pre-K to 2, we have used this in our grammar classes as well for those students who need the language development. The students are going to need to have a certain level of language to even place into our Connecting Math Concepts program, because a prerequisite is, if they don't place into that program, a prerequisite would be go back and work on the Language for Learning program. So in Language for Learning, the very first thing is you're going to administer the placement test, and this will determine where the student places in the program. So that's always going to be first and foremost in any direct instruction program, and really in any type of educational or curriculum program. The error correction for this program is sentence repetition error, where the teacher would say, "My turn." The teacher repeats the original task. Then you're going to tell them, "Say it with me." And again, the teacher repeats the original task. You're going to tell the students, "Get ready." And the teacher and the student repeat the task. Again, "Get ready." And the teacher and student respond. Then it would be "Your turn." The teacher repeats the original task, "Get ready." And the students respond independently. The teacher verifies their response. Then you would tell them, "Okay, starting over," and then you would represent the task to them in its original form. If there's an information error, the teacher is going to say, "It's my turn." The teacher then is going to repeat the original task. Then they'll say, "Your turn." The teacher repeats the original question and the student gives the answer. And then again, you're going to start over and you're going to present the original task again as originally presented. There's always going to be testing and data collection. So you're going to record all your assessment results. There is a place in the book in the teacher guide for you to print or to photocopy and record all the students' testing results. This is where you want to keep all your data collection very nice and concise, and then you could see how the student is progressing, if it takes multiple presentations for them to get a concept, or if they need to keep going back and be retaught certain lessons. Our Reading Mastery program, it's evidence-based. It's a comprehensive reading program that uses direct instruction method to help the students master 5 essential components of reading. It's going to be phonemic awareness, decoding, irregularities, reading accuracy and fluency, and comprehension. It places particular emphasis on teaching critical thinking skills and helping students acquire background knowledge. It's a complete basal reading program that uses the direct instruction method to help students master essential decoding and comprehension skills. It also utilizes a special orthography designed to assist students identify letter sounds. The special font is later phased out and replaced with traditional orthography. So a lot of people will initially look at our program and say, "Why does the print look so odd?" And it's for that reason. It gives the students visual cues when they're using short sounds or long sounds, or if they're blended sounds. So it really is very helpful for the students to have these visual cues that kind of guide them along, and then they slowly fade them out. Usually by mid-first grade level, those are all faded out. A typical lesson includes 7 to 9 short activities encompassing multiple strands of content, including the phonemic awareness, the letter sound correspondence, sounding out of words, word recognition, vocabulary, oral reading fluency, and comprehension. It provides spelling instruction to help students make the connection between decoding and spelling patterns. This would be a book that's provided within your teacher kit, and I forget exactly what lesson it begins at, but it would provide you and tell you when to begin the spelling lessons or component. It also develops decoding, word recognition, and comprehension skills that transfer to other subject areas. So in Reading Mastery, your levels K and 1 they focus on learning to read and letter sounds, not names. So initially the program teaches the students the sounds of the letters. It doesn't tell them this is A, this is B, this is C. This is A, this is B, this is K. All right, so it teaches all the prerequisite skills to read. Again, it learns the sounds for letters, and it's not teaching sight words at this point. The stories are composed entirely of words they've already learned. And again, it uses that special font, which systematically fades out in grade 1. Levels 2 and 3 and beyond focus on learning reading to learn. So the emphasis shifts from learning how to decode and comprehend to actually using skills as tools for learning from written language. So the stories teach about diverse places in the world, different eras, and about important historical facts. It provides a strong foundation of common information in different content areas. So for sight words, for a sight word program, if you teach a student 10 words, the student's going to know 10 words. If you teach a student 10 sounds, the students are going to know 353 sound words, 4,324 sound words, over 21,005 sound words. So really teaching the students sounds is what's going to generalize to them being able to apply that skill, whereas just using a sight word program is only teaching students particular words. Okay, so this is really giving them a skill that goes beyond teaching. Once they've learned the sounds, they're able to then blend and form thousands of words, okay, and be able to read thousands of words. So here's your reading mastery materials list. This is all in your teacher guidebook as well. And it shows you specifically for every grade level what you have. All grade levels have teacher presentation books. With the exception of that transition program, they all have spelling presentation books. They all have teacher guides, answer keys, fluency-based assessment books, so again, with the exception of that transition level. So this tells you exactly what you need. The students then in the transition level begin using textbooks. All levels have workbooks, and the K and 1 have actual storybooks that go along with them. Again, so all of this is in your teacher guide, so you could always reference exactly what you need to have, what you should have with that level program. This is a video that's going to show you how to use Signal. So at this point, I would recommend that you pause this training and you go in and watch video 1. Okay. So now when you're in the Reading Mastery program, again, you're always going to administer the placement test. There are placement tests for every level. If a student places somewhere between a level, always contact your lead teacher and they can help you find out exactly where they are maybe midway in the program. There are other levels if a student comes in mid-year. There are other ways to place test the students. But initially, anybody coming in should always be taking those initial placement tests. So if you have a kindergartner student that comes in, you would give them kindergarten, the kindergarten placement test to see if they place into the program. Again, if it's a second grader and they're not on a second grade level, you might administer the K placement test. If they do fine on that, you might administer the first grade placement test. If there's somewhere between kindergarten and first grade, contact your lead teacher and they can help walk you through where that child should be placed in the program. Now here's a video that's going to go over the letter sounds a review. There are some quick sounds and there are some continuous sounds in the program. Using the proper sounds are extremely important in this program. We all have our own ways of saying things, or maybe we drag sounds out a little bit, or accents depending on where we're from, different parts of the country. So this really walks you through and shows models for you how the sounds should be said, whether they're quick or continuous. So at this point, I would pause this training and go in and watch video number 2. And here's another sample. Here's another video. This will be video number 3. Again, you want to pause at this point and go in and watch video number 3. And this is a sample of an actual reading mastery lesson being presented to a whole class. And it really gives you the flow of the program and the pacing. And you'll see error correction built into the program as well. Then in Reading Mastery, there are error correction procedures, very similar to the Language for Learning that we went over previously. Also, in your autism program handbook, your Teach handbook, we also break down, and there are signs in there in the appendix that you can hang up in your classroom that actually walk you through and are reminders of how to run those error correction procedures. Again, you're going to do data collection, so you want to record all mastery tests and assessment results. In their teacher book, there is also, and actually in the curricular assessment book, there are data collection sheets in the back of it in order for you to photocopy and record how the students are performing as they go along. This gives you a very quick snapshot of how the students are performing, as well as how quickly they are picking up on the lessons and how quickly they're mastering the lessons. Then we have our Connecting Math Concepts program. The Connecting Math focuses on the big ideas of math. It teaches explicit strategies that enable students to master difficult ideas such as ratios, proportions, probability, functions, and data analysis. It gives you detailed explanations and guided practice, moves students toward independent work, ensuring they gain success and confidence as mathematical thinkers. The program provides highly explicit, systematic, and intensive instruction in computation, problem solving, and mathematical thinking. It's based on students' understanding of math skills and concepts that require making connections among related math topics and between procedures and knowledge. The lessons are designed to introduce concepts at a reasonable rate, and they help students make connections between important concepts and provide the practice needed to achieve mastery and understanding. So it combines facts, procedures, conceptual understanding, applications, and problem solving skills to provide a comprehensive curriculum. The students learn to understand math by making connections among the math topics, procedures, and knowledge. The critical concepts help the students remember and integrate concepts into previous learning. It's explicit. Its research proven instruction helps students master math skills. There's ongoing assessment throughout the program and the progress monitoring, which allows you to quickly pinpoint areas of concern and effectively correct errors. Okay, so here's the student profile, so at the various levels. So level A is about a kindergarten level, and these are the students who meet the minimal criteria in the level A placement test. So they may not be able to identify numbers or count, but they have the basic language needed to follow the teacher's direction. Like I said before, if a student does not place into level A, the recommendation is going to be for the student to go into the Language for Learning program to develop those basic language skills that they need in order to follow the teacher's directions and be able to be successful in the Connecting Math Concepts program. Level B is a grade 1. This is students who meet the minimum criteria, again, on the level B placement test. They can write 1 and 2 digit numbers, they can represent numbers with objects, and they can add and subtract 1, 2, and 0, and they can write equations. Level C is grade 2. These are students who meet the minimal criteria, again, on the level C placement test. They can write 2 digit numbers, they can add and subtract 1 and 2, and they can count on from a given number. So they don't always have to go back to 1 to count up to a number. You can start them at 32 and then they continue to go from there. Grade 3 is level D. This is the highest level that we currently have in the district. These are this would be students on a grade 3 level. They meet the minimum criteria in the level D placement test. They can write numbers. They know basic addition and subtraction facts. They add and subtract multi-digit numbers without regrouping, and they work with number families. At the current time, we do not have level E and F in the district. You will be provided with access to the program online as well, where you will be able to access every single level, but we don't have the supplemental materials and the workbooks and textbooks that go along with those levels E and F. Again, always remember to administer the placement test. That's first and foremost with any direct instruction program that we are talking about here, Language for Learning, Reading Mastery, Connecting Math Concepts. You need to always administer those placement tests to properly place the student at the correct level. Never assume that a student's going to place into their grade level. You know, we always need the data to back up why we're placing them at a certain level. Again, the error correction procedures are the same and similar as the Language for Learning and the Reading Mastery. Again, those charts are in your appendix in your Teach Handbook. So always I would recommend printing those out and posting them in your classroom as a quick reference in the area that you're running the program. So if you ever have a question, you can always look up and run those error corrections. In the early program, in level K of Reading Mastery and Language for Learning and Connecting Math Concepts, the program itself, the teacher presentation book, will guide you through those error correction program procedures. But as you get further into the program, they start fading it out with the idea that you've already been doing them for so long that you already know how to do the error correction, which is why we recommend posting them in the classroom so you always have a quick reference to go back to. Again, there's data collection. You want to record all the mastery tests and the assessment results. There are all these data collection forms that are in your teacher guidebook and in the curriculum assessment book. If you have any questions about where to find these or how to use them, again, just meet with your lead teacher and they can walk you through this as well. At this point, this is the conclusion of the presentation of the direct instruction programs. If you want, you can click this link or copy this link and it will take you to the evaluation, or hold your phone up and you can get the QR code, put your camera on access the QR code and it will take you right to the evaluation. And from there, you'll also be able to get your PD certificate. Thank you for listening. And again, if you have any questions, please always contact your lead teacher.